Good evening. I'm sorry I'm a little later tonight. Instead of at 7 o'clock, I was busy doing some gardening with a little herb garden. I've done one before in past years, but this one's gotten a little more elaborate because I have time to do it now. But there's just something special about working the dirt with your hands and watching things grow and just kind of participating in the creation of God in a small way. And I'm hoping to also do a vegetable garden this summer, but that'll take a little more work. So anyway, I was busy working my herbs when it was 7 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, oops. So anyway, but now I'm here, and I wanted to read to you. This is a translation called The Voice. It's a little bit different. It's written by poets and musicians trying to make the Bible sound more like literature we're used to reading. And it's a really interesting translation. So starting in Philippians 2, if you find any comfort from being in the Anointed, if his love brings you some encouragement, if you experience true companionship with the Spirit, if his tenderness and mercy fill your heart, then, brothers and sisters, here is one thing that would complete my joy. Come together as one in mind and spirit and purpose, sharing in the same love. Don't let selfishness and prideful agendas take over. Embrace true humility and lift your heads to extend love to others. Get beyond yourselves and, protecting your own interests, be sincere and secure your neighbor's interests first. I'm going to play a few hymns. I just picked some hymns out of the hymnal, and so it's not going to be any pre-written arrangement, just some hymns that I love, and they're all about Jesus. One second. Oh, my battery died on my foot pedal, so I have to tap it. That's okay. To read some more from Philippians 2, starting now at verse 5. In other words, adopt the mindset of Jesus, the Anointed. Live with his attitude in your hearts. Remember, though he was in the form of God, he chose not to cling to equality with God, but he poured himself out to fill a vessel brand new, a servant in form and a man indeed, the very likeness of humanity. He humbled himself, obedient to death, a merciless death on the cross. So God raised him up to the highest place and gave him the name above all. So when his name is called, every knee will bow, in heaven, on earth, and below, and every tongue will confess, Jesus, the Anointed One, is Lord, to the glory of God our Father. That last one you might recognize as More Love to Thee, but maybe the rhythm didn't seem quite right. Well, a favorite song, which really was a hymn, it was More Love to Thee, but kind of contemporized, if you will, a little bit by Fernando Ortega, was a favorite of my stepmom, Vicky Myers. And so anytime I play that one, I think about that version and about how much she loved his take on the hymn. And so I just can't help but let that one come out because I really like it as well. And I think about her and I miss her. So I had the thought for the rest of the time, I'm going to get on my Facebook on here. If I can find it. And I'm going to take some requests. So there's rarely a hymn that I don't know. It does happen though. That I would be glad to play anything. This is the United Methodist hymnal. If you have something in a different hymnal, I do have a few others, well, many others, but a few others that I'm prepared to look at. So if you have a hymn you would like to listen to, I would be glad to play it for you. So, here we are. I'm just finding the live video so I can look at your comments. I know I should have this up ahead of time, but it's okay. Oh, I should have thought of this ahead of time. I didn't think it would be hard. But here we go. Comments. I would be glad to play anything. Anything. This is the United Methodist hymnal. If you have I should have thought of this. It as well. Well, I can do that for sure. So I'd be glad to play just a second here. It as well. So I would be glad to play that one. All right. If you happen to be in the United Methodist hymnal, it's 377, but I have no idea what number it is in other hymnals. But I'm sure you don't need it. This is a wonderful hymn. That is definitely one of my favorites. I'll drop that. All right, let's see. Any other requests? Hymn requests? I see. Hey, Tanya. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Mom. That's my mom, Ruby Myers. Charlotte. Hi. Hi, Bobby. Anybody have any other requests? I'd be glad to play just about anything. If not right now, if you think of something later, be sure to comment or send me a message, wherever you'd like, and I would be glad to do it next time. I love to play hymns and contemporary music. I think as long as it worships God, it's great. And so I love it all. It praises the Lord, and that's just fine by me. A little bit of gospel, a little bit of country-ish, country gospel, anything. So just let me know. Be glad to play some more. Just as I am. Alrighty, Bobby, I can do that for you. Just as I am. That's a great one. Beautiful hymn. Alrighty, well, I think that'll be it for tonight, but like I said, if you have any other hymn requests, I would be glad to do them. If you ever wanted to know anything about a hymn writer, I would be glad to do that as well. I was thinking I might know something about Charlotte Elliott that wrote that last one. Let's see if I can find it really quick. It's been a little while since I read this book. So Charlotte Elliott wrote the words, I believe, to Just As I Am, and she was from England, and she had a disability. That's what I was thinking. Yes, she had a disability, and she was bitter about that. She said, if God loved me, he would not have treated me this way. So she went to minister came to her, Dr. Cesar Millan, and he tried to help her, and she yelled at him, and then he said to her, you are holding to your hate and anger because you have nothing else in the world to cling to. Consequently, you've become sour, bitter, and resentful. What is your cure? Asked Charlotte. The faith you are trying to despise. So then she asked about how to become a Christian, and he shared it with her. And it's like the everything that was inside of her changed, and she wrote about 150 different hymns. We don't obviously know all of them in terms of us normally singing them, but she was quite a prolific hymn writer. So so don't think that you can't, that your disability is because God is angry at you. It isn't, and that means that you can't have a relationship with God. You can, and it could open up a whole different world to you. So she's just a good example of once somebody went to her. That's important. The minister went to her. He didn't wait for her to come to him. He went to her and said, you know, he kind of contested her and said, you are tired of yourself, aren't you? I know I get tired of myself. And that's usually when I'm running to Jesus saying, I'm really tired of my attitude or my thoughts. I need some help. And that's the best place to go. So, really neat story. Anyway, lots of good stories. I happen to have this book called Then Sings My Soul, so about different hymn writers. And if you have any hymns for next time, please let me know. I'd be glad to play them. And I'll try to put that out ahead of time so you can kind of look them up or think about it a little bit more, and I'd be glad to play them for you. So I hope you guys have a good night. Be safe. Be healthy at home. And I hope to worship with you from our church with our online service and Facebook Live at 11 o'clock. So I will see you then. Have a great night.